Okay, and welcome back. I'm going to be showing some more advanced features of the Shot Manager add-on. I'm using Shot Manager 0.6 in Blender 2.81a. So if you look at the top, there's some new features here just for queuing, the ability to queue all and to count how many are in the queue and to invert your queue. This was upon request by a user who had many shots. If you scroll down, there's some new shot data. Most importantly, render engine. This is pretty powerful. It means that, say, if I want to render my cube in Eevee but my Suzanne in cycles, and I want to override how many render samples I'm going to be using, that will change for you. I created this because I was finding ways to optimize my scenes as much as possible, and I had some elements that I could get away with rendering in Eevee very quickly, and other elements that were more detailed and required more accuracy. And so you can really use your shots as render layer presets, something like that, or view layer presets. So scrolling down, last time I covered saving view layers, but we will go into it a little bit deeper when I go into nodes, because there are more advanced ways of doing this, and also counting your files. This is a new feature since my last video. This is a simple one that shows simply how many files of the format, which is PNG in this case, exist in your output directory. Okay, so data is for backing up or transferring shot data, which is all of this, to another scene. When you import, when you export, you'll create a JSON file, so here. And when you import, you have the option to ignore existing shots. So if I turn that off, it'll double up on all my existing shots. Okay, batch output. By default, it's grayed out if you don't have anything in your queue. So that's where the queue becomes useful. Export shots as files, and there's a number of formats here on your right. If you're using Blender 2.80, it'll be on your left. So there are options: DOS batch for Windows, blend files, FBX files, OBJ wavefront, Alembic, and Collada. So I'll do a little demonstration of what this means. To separate files for DOS batch basically means to create a batch file for each shot rather than one shot that will render all of your shots consecutively. And it'll also output a blend file, an associated blend file. So it won't go automatically to your root folder dash shot name. For the batch file, you just choose where you want to put it, and the batch file will contain all of your output information needed. So I'll just go ahead and open that. Okay, and so I have two batch files and two blend files. This batch file will open that one and render it through command line, and that one will render that one. So just double click and it will start rendering using your render camera and your frame range. That was really quick because that was in Eevee. But the files have appeared here. I don't have my nodes, my render, my compositor set up, so I'm just getting black frames. The other, I guess, key format would be FBX. This one has pretty much all of the options that you would expect, as well as they all have the ability to have a preset, so I have good batch FBX. The other one is blend, so This is just basically what occurred here with the blend files, is it's just splitting up your existing scene into separate blend scenes with your settings set to that shot. This is really useful if you're blocking out your animations in one sort of master blend file, and maybe you're creating an animatic in there or whatever, and then you're splitting up that scene into separate blend files so different animators can come along and finesse those shots without worrying about the other shots, because once you get to a certain scale of production, you're not going to be rendering multiple shots in one file. You'll be rendering or working in a shot per file. And that leads me to Pandora Submitter. So this is really batch rendering using the Pandora open source software. If you look up Prism pipeline, you'll find it, and this will, if it's detected and installed, this will become available to you, and it'll work a little bit better than the default submitter that comes with Pandora. So it will take your shot information, your camera, your frame range, and submit it to the queue. And you also have the ability to batch submit shots that have been enabled.